Coming out of the nightmare abyss of the piney woods of East Texas, the Random Horror Show, the best in commentary and reviews in horror, sci-fi, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure from film, television shows, and literature. Join our horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, as she is scary, but random, horrific, but funny. Last but not least, she will chill you to the bone.
Welcome back to the Random Horror Show. I am your horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, coming straight out of these muggy, musty, just awful, and a little bit boggy. I'm Pine Curtin, better known as East Texas, and thank you all for joining me. Love you, my listeners. I sure do appreciate y'all listening ears, and of course, here at the Random Horror Show, where I just commentate being silly and random, but we come back to the main point and with deep thoughts and commentary, just be goofy with it and everything. But we also make some valid points in horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure, in movies, television shows, literature, and our wonderful guest that drops in to chop it up with yours truly. Well, I'm on a Stephen King kick, and this is November, so guess what? We're gonna be celebrating Thanksgiving on the 28th. Gobble gobble, motherfuckers. If you have not watched Thanksgiving with Eli Roth, go check that out. That was a great holiday horror slasher film, and I was so glad that it came out last year. Also, if you want some silly ass, like just just all off the wall with a low budget film called Thanksgiving with Turkey, you can go and check him out. Also, I think there's like two sequels to Thanksgiving Killing with Turkey, but if y'all really want to listen to some great commentary, do go check out To the Reviews as he talks about Thanksgiving with Eli Roth. I know that I did a past episode, which was last year around Thanksgiving, about Thanksgiving with Eli Roth. He does like drop those gems. He's like really animated, and I do love To the Reviews. So go check him out. He is on Spotify. Also, go check mine out of Thanksgiving commentary and reviews, and also Thanksgiving commentary reviews on the Random Horror Show. Now, like I said, I'm on a Stephen King kick. So, just to introduce y'all to the man, the master of horror, you read so many Stephen King novels. I have been introduced to a friend. He passed away 20 something years ago. Rest in love and peace, Chris. But he got me into Stephen King novels when I was in seventh grade. And that opened up nothing but my imagination and fantasy and like lots of just ultra great horror. I just kicked the can, if y'all heard that, of the magical, macabre world of Stephen King. Now, he was like this writer from Maine. I like how he he weaves his tales and stories around Maine, which he is from and born, and that you can just really relate to like the blue collar. If you're not blue collar, if you grew up blue collar, I grew up half blue collar and half like bougie too, but he does make sure that that everybody in his from his characters and the way how small towns are, that are very relatable. So like, why does he like set these in Castle Rock, Bangor, Maine, all of that right there is because, he feels and loves the where he lives. He grew up there and everything else. This is what he knows. And of course, Stephen King, he's been around the world, all around the world. But from his novels, I mean, really great novels and stuff. But this one I'm going to be talking about in particular, I read this novel. It was not my favorite. It's called Cell, and I've actually watched the movie and I read the book. Now, I read the book back in 2015. And that was the last Stephen King novel that I read. And I was not happy the way of the ending was. I felt that like it was a bit rushed. It was like all during the whole zombie genre craze, of like The Walking Dead, all of that and everything else. But I felt that like he had like a really good thing about how cell phones are and how we are so glued and so stuck to them. It's like we can't live without having our cell phones. And, just inanimate objects that we just solely just depend on our lives on, whenever we for a lot of us who grew up with landlines or didn't have cell phones, or we are beginning to start with the technology of cell phones. I remember cell phones back in the day that came in a bag. And those other cell phones that was like costing like $500 to get. Oh gosh, I remember that, and it was just a weird. It was fascinating. It was a little weird, different time to like have a phone, like in your pocket. It came out with the beepers and stuff. If you watch Saved by the Bell, there's Zach Morris with his like big ass, phone that's like about the size of a dang, household cleaner that's stuck on his face. It was interesting for around the 90s, me particularly growing up. And of course, I grew up in the 80s where I just seen a bag phone. I was like, oh, that's really weird. But phones have been around for like a long time. I mean, even if you watch any of the older movies, that people did have phones in their cars, bag phones and things like that. I mean, it was like in the 60s, 70s and stuff like that, but they were like really unattainable for just us regular folk. But now cell phones are just basically, it's just like buying a piece of candy, sky high, but not too sky high. But, we have like the Apple Wars, Android, all of that. But Cell, in particular, of how Stephen King wrote this novel, is that when you're using your cell phones, like I said, everybody's glued to their cell phones, and that there's this weird magnetic pulse that changes everybody into these really crazed, zombie like animalistic, they're not human anymore. They're just part of this big huge network like Verizon or AT&T, Sprint, whatever you want to like use, even like T-Mobile, Cricket, if you have like the prepaid cell phones as you go to like the plans. But in this novel, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the novel, and I'm going to be talking more about the movie. We're just going to go ahead and start off with the movie Cell, which is basically the same characters in the Cell. You have Clay, which is the protagonist, and then you have Tom, Alice, and you have played by John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson, and Isabel Furman, who played homegirl off the Orphan movies. Bro, she is so cool in those Orphan movies, man. And that's another. Those are some really great films. I like that. I liked how I thought I was like being punked by these Orphan movies and thought it was going to be some stupid shit, but she really do rock in those damn Orphan movies. But let's talk about the Cell. Now you have Clay, which is played by John Cusack. He's not holding up a big ass boombox and stuff to Ione Sky. He's actually a artist, a graphic artist that is coming back from his trip. Um, he is separated from his wife. They had some marital issues, but he's like, oh my gosh, I want to get back with them, my family, and blah, blah, blah. He was kind of like one of those, like, he wasn't like a deadbeat dad, but he just didn't put his, like, fucking best in this. So he's like, hey, girl, what's up? I want to get back with you. Not really want to say that, but he was too scared. And he talks to his son, and all of a sudden everything just goes like that. So he's like on the payphone, and I was like, yes, payphone. And I have this thing where if I travel somewhere and I see a payphone, because payphones are literally like dinosaurs, they're like Bigfoot. If I see one, I'm gonna snap a picture of it and keep it, because payphones to me is like one of those crowning save my ass type of lifeline right there. And I really do miss payphones. I really miss putting in the coins and all of that. So he tries to get back with his, back to the phone call. And of course, he sees that like his phone dies and all the plugs are just being jacked by everybody on their phone, on their cell phones. I'm like, oh my God, I know how that feeling is, because child, it's like you can't even find a damn plug at the airport, or like the adapter plug, the USB port be like jacked up and fucked up and everything. So like he sees that this one dude, comes out of the bathroom and just attacks this girl. And then when the girl, like, she's screaming and hollering and stuff, beat the shit out of her. So he goes over there and beat the hell out of him and everything. Her friend is screaming, screaming, screaming. So she's like calling 911. Then you hear this pulse going through her head and changes her. And then she starts beating her head against the wall. And she's all nasty and bloody. Baby, she ain't got no teeth like my daddy and stuff. No front teeth like my daddy. I was like, ooh, girl, weird. So everything is all in chaos, like at the airport. So he's like running the best way he can, and that old man running and stuff. He's being chased like by the people that actually been hit by the pulse. I mean, planes falling out of the sky, pigs are flying, chickens have like come home to roost. You know what I'm saying? So he goes down to the subway part, the transit, when they're like transporting people to like different terminals, and he finds like there's some survivors, and he meets Tom McCord, which is played by Samuel L. Jackson. Of course, they have done a movie together, another Stephen King movie, 1408. That was a really trippy ass movie, though. And he was like, all right, then, hey, what's up, Tom? And Tom, like, I ain't gonna stay here. So, like, there was another dude named DJ Liquid and stuff. He was like, yo, I'm trying to get to my girl and everything. So, the people in it, like, in the subway, they stayed there. They ass is dead, dead. So they went down on the tracks and everything, and then they see the group of people, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you know what I'm saying?" But guess what? Somebody said, "Surprise, surprise," with an accent, like busted up on DJ Liquid. Yeah, he had a whole bunch of liquid coming out, blood. So Clay and Tom, they like went up through the what do you call those little stairs that leads out to the street. Everything is like crazy. It looks like a bomb just like hit it, which it really did, which is was the pulse. So they get to his apartment, and here comes like Alice. Alice is like bloody as hell, and she's like, I stabbed my mama, she dead, she dead. And they said, all right, then we'll get you a bath, wash yourself up. The phone kept ringing, so they put the phone in the ice box and stuff. So whenever Tom like sees all the drawings, he was like, these are some very interesting drawings that you did. He said, yeah, I got like this big, big, deal. My like drawings, my graphic novels, they come into life, everything else. And then, you hear this good ass news and you so happy, you want to get your family together. Then all of a sudden this bullshit happened. It's like, what the fuck? So all three of them, they say, you know what? Let's get the hell up out of Boston because Boston is crazy. So when they were like getting on the street, they were like running around trying to get to places and stuff. They seemed like there was like a gathering, a group of the ones that are crazed maniacs that is by the pulse. So you see these people on these motorcycles, they trying to turn around, shit, they got a tag. They say, oh shit. And now it's like, do we help them? He like, no, they just let them die. We finna go. So, they had that long trek and everything. They trying to get out. So they finally got out of the city, good deal. So they found a house that had like some guns. That's like, oh shit, these motherfuckers some NRA, type of people and everything. So they went in the house, they all did, they got all the bullets, you know what I'm saying? They was rocking and rolling like Neo and Trinity when they was finna go inside and like shoot up the place, like on the Matrix. So guess what? There's a little boy out there. He was just chilling on a swing set and like rubbing the Pomeranian and stuff. But you could tell that Pomeranian was scared as fuck. Cause that Pomeranian was like, I don't know, like homeboy out here, he tripping, but I'm gonna stay still because I'm scared. You can see the fright in this dog's eyes. I mean, even the way how the dog was shaking, this dog was so uneasy and knowing that like this person, the little boy that was holding him. So like Alice go out there, one of them stupid ass like dumb mistakes. Hey, how you doing? You doing all right? Are you okay? And then the boy jumps up, dog runs off like, thank God this mother. He was like, the dog was like, thank God I'm gone. So guess what? The boy turned around, he wanted them, and then all these fools coming out of the woods and shit. I was like, oh snap. So they were running for their lives and everything. And I was just like looking at Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack, I was like, are y'all really running that damn fast? I know old girl was running fast, but y'all okay? Cause it's a little bit tough on the joints and everything if you haven't ran like that. You know what I'm saying? They could be coughing and barking and stuff. They just look like they just haven't been running it for a while. So they hid up under this boat, and the people like stopped, and they just like sat there, and then they turned back around and went the other way. It was looking like Hands Across America or something. So they was like, well, shit, this is weird. They having shit coming out of their mouth and sounded like damn Decepticons and everything. This is really strange. So they made their trek, until they got to Cashwalk, no phone, which means like this is a dead zone. There's no cell phones here, et cetera, et cetera. All right, they go post it up, in the little bar, everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna go to Cashwalk. No, no sale is supposed to be like this place like in Maine where it's very safe. And they like, yeah. And so they had like their little fun time and stuff. Cause you gotta have a little fun time. Just a little bit of fun. Not too much fun, like how Big Mama used to do us. Y'all can have fun, but not too much fun. Cause I don't know. It's something about the old folks and everything. When you having too much fun, they're like, all right, cut that out. You done had enough fun and stuff. It's time to be serious. So they had their little fun. They had their little drinks and everything else. Little woman and everything. She was sitting there looking up and down, like at Clay, like, ooh, you cute. When she saw like Tom, she was like, ooh, delicious and everything. I was like, girl, he like the same thing like you. He like dang-a-lang. So throughout the night, the old lady, she jumped up and stuff, and because she heard a dog outside. I was like, bitch, don't be walking over there with, why you, I'm like, what is the whole point of you walking towards the door because you hear a dog outside? You know what I'm saying? Because them people are out there, they gonna kill you, but you hear a dog whining and barking outside the door. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is one of those stupid white people like moves and shit. And I was just like, mm-mm. No, If I was in that situation, I'd be like, okay, y'all cool and all and everything, but is there somewhere else I could stay? Because I'm like, oh no, that's okay. Y'all be trying to jump up and be figuring out what the fuck is going on outside. I can't do that. I can't be around people like that. I don't care like you white, black, or whatever like that. I can't be around stupid people like that. Just cause some dog outside jumping and all that. So she opened up the door. Guess what? Them hoes done came in. But this is the thing with them. Since their cell phones are burnt out of the way and stuff, now they are like putting this pulse like through the people that have been turned, and she got turned and stuff, and so she just like going ape shit. So it's like an ape shit like type of situation. There is a problem at the beehive. Everybody gets crazy at the beehive and everything, 20 seconds to survive like that, like on the world's end. So we have like another little bar fight and everything. But like this ain't no nobodies. This is some real shit. So guess what? Alice got popped. Oh my god. That like really got me right there because like she was one of my favorite characters like in the book also. But yeah, she did. But they also like had another little dude and stuff. He was like one of the little boys like at the little schoolhouse. And so Stacy Keach was in there too. Well, it was like great seeing Stacy Keach. But yeah, Stacy Keach and everything, he was telling them, like, yo, we're gonna burn these hoes and stuff. So they burn them hoes, but guess what? The gas like came to the damn truck and killed Stacy Keach's character. I was like, damn, that's crazy right there. But I was like, well, he old, he can't run anyway, so it's like it was meant for him to die. But yes, so they was like, you know what, let's roll off and everything since we had like a problem at the Beehive bar and everybody is dead because they had to kill him, and then it was very sad because Alice is gone. So, anyways, um, they went into the woods and there was a guy there and there was another chick there, and then they was like, oh shit, what's up? And the dude was like not crazy, but he was like wired the fuck up, and he has not been sleeping. He's seeing hallucinations, and so he's like acting very erratic, but he still has some rationality. Now the chick that he was with and everything, she was helping him out. So they got her brother, so they put a little cloak over him so he won't see, and let them know, because they figured out if they see you, they're gonna have the whole crowd like coming at you, bamboozle you and everything, be bum rushing you. And she's still trying to like the girl, she was trying to like make sense of it, but she was still treating her like brother like he was human and trying to feed him and shit. I was like, oh my god, girl, no, he gone. He is definitely gone, gone, gone. So it ended off like where they are going to Clay's house. So they made it to Clay's house. And also, like during that shit time, is that our homeboy blew himself up because he was like, I can't take this shit no more. I'm crazy. Now I'm really crazy. This is getting to me. He couldn't take it. You know what? I don't even blame him. He popped his head off with some damn explosions. So they took the ice cream truck, went to like Clay's house. Guess what? Clay felt like, yeah, I can see my family, but he seen a little note on the refrigerator and saying that like, his son, like, yo, dad, like, mama done got turned. And I will be going to the place where there's like no interference, no cell service and all that stuff. He was like, oh, very cool. But he heard some shit upstairs. Baby, it was his wife. She was all in a red hoodie, just like in his graphic novels of what he drew. And yeah, Tom came up there, pop, 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 you know what I'm saying? They whooped the ass, they killed her. And he was really devastated. So like Clay was like, you know what, I'm gonna find my son. And Tom was like, are you for real? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna find my son. And he's like, okay, well, your folks, he did. He's like, I don't want to believe that. And I'm just like, dude, your son's gone. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, because there's C4s, and the ice cream truck. I'm finna blow this bitch up. All right, cool. So he went to like the place where all of them at, and it's just like this damn circle of like people running around like they running track. And there's this big cell tower, and then he drives through, and then guess what? There's like the guy that he drew from his graphic novels was standing right there. And then it was like a weird ass way, like, did he create this? From his graphic novel is reason why all this is taking place. So he finally sees his son. He was like, yay, hey son, what's up? And then he was like, oh shit, he got turned. Oh no. So you see him like taking the cell phone that like on Home Biscuit gave him, which is like the detonator to explode everybody, and boom, you see, you're like, oh, okay, really? And then guess what? Tricked you. That shit didn't even happen. And that was the end of the movie. And what I gotta say about this one is that like the good parts about this film is that it does take the same thing of like how the graphic parts of like how the people reacted, how zombified they were, everything that was in this Stephen King novel Cell. So they got that part right, even they down to the characters of how they are. Clay to me was like a really good character, but he just like to me he was just holding on to some bullshit that is never going to like happen, especially about getting back with his wife and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, oh Lord. I mean, and that's good that he let he got that big deal on his graphic novels to be published. But then again, is it like was he the one that like caused all this like cataclysmic, apocalyptic, type situation? Or it's just coincidental that something, that was like taking back of like saying, hey, I'm so sick of like people on these damn cell phones. And you know what? The machines are just gonna like take over, just like on Maximum Overdrive. Really great movie. So you got like that little bit of that Maximum Overdrive like feel for this, but it has to do with cell phones. So like really, if you think about it, if like how much like people are so glued to their phones, social media, things like that, is that like does it really like take away of like our humanity of where we just cannot connect to each other like on a human connection level? Because I mean, I feel like it was kind of, when I was reading the novel and then I watched this movie, I feel like how that it was like produced like that. But of course, you have like the horror of Stephen King to like really amp it up, especially with the zombie craze of like how it was, years ago. I don't know if it's still going on or not. I mean, it's kind of died off a little bit, but really, I mean, if you think about it, is that like how we so dependent on like technology and everything to where the pulse like sitting there say, well, you know what? They depend on us way too much, and guess what? We're gonna have so much control because they think they have control over everything, and really they don't. So the ending of this film was like trash, just like the ending in the book was trash. This is not one of my favorite ones from Stephen King, and it was just, it just lost a lot of like to me it felt like the same thing just like in a novel. It like was like you trying to it was like it was building up to like okay cool awesome, and then it just kind of just peters down and just peters out and everything. And I was just like, damn, Steven, did you like rush through this shit? I don't know, was it just you just like felt tired whenever you wrote it? And then it did the same thing with this film. It was like, was you tired was they tired when they made this film? Because it just felt like it just gave up. So, and that's what I think about the cell. Like I said, this is one of not so my favorite film from Stephen King as well as the novel. But thank you so much for joining me. Just like my deep thoughts and my perspective, like on Cell. You can catch me on Instagram at the Random Horror Show, Facebook, YouTube, and all of them jazz. So remember, cell phones ain't your friends and shit, okay? Cause mine is beat the fuck up and got yeah, I need another phone, but still, I use it, but I ain't too big on it. But anyways, kind of you can call me a technophobe in some ways, but I prefer human connection. I am Keisha Lacey, and this is the Random Horror Show.